Let's get some analysis of this story. We're joined by Ziya Meral, a London-based Turkish analyst and researcher. Ziya, thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. We appreciate your time. Turkey vowing to bring terrorism to its knees. That's the quotation in the wake of this explosion in Ankara. Turkey not doing a good job of that, if the evidence of recent months is to be believed.
Indeed, I think you put it very well. I mean, bringing terrorism to its knees is often an emotive response given following such monstrous terror attacks, which has no justification whatsoever. Yet at the same time, the root causes of terrorism, its appeals and how individuals are recruited into such networks are almost never solved by brutal action. The only really recent case where we saw a state completely rooting out an insurgency with ethno-nationalist and separatist agenda was the Sri Lanka example with Tamil rebels, which actually will amount to war crime and widespread overuse of power. So even though the Turkish politicians are saying that, sooner or later they have to come back to where things were in 2-3 years ago and pursue a political agenda.
And the bombing of Kurdish positions in Iraq, whilst that might be popular with some voters, it might be popular with some supporters of the AK party, clearly in what you're saying, this would only make matters worse in the long term.
I think bombing of the PKK targets in northern Iraq are very easy. You can take off X amount of jets from a base, couple of bases in Turkey and drop a couple of bombs, but it's been done for some 20-30 years now. So then there has to be a question of whether or not, even though this is the first reaction that we want to give, is there actually any strategic value in that action? And clearly PKK positions are well trenched in the mountainous area in northern Iraq. What is most worrying is PKK's attempt to create zones of independence in Turkey over the summer has triggered a heavy-handed Turkish security response with legitimate reasons, yet at the same time civilian populations have suffered tremendously, whether in actual causes of material damage or being relocated. What is now going to fuel a whole new generation which will think that PKK's proposed solution is the way forward is actually going to be what the Turkish military is doing in those cities that are under curfew. In recent reports, we have seen the populations in southeastern Turkey expressing discontent both towards the Turkish military and towards PKK. So unless the Turkish government is able to shift this conversation from just the security response to PKK, but to a social reconciliation project and demonstrating to people why it is better for Turkey to remain together than to create another example of Iraq or Syria, then unless we do that, I'm afraid to forecast that we will not see an end to this cycle of violence in the country.
Ziya Meral, thank you very much indeed for joining us. I'm afraid we're out of time, but interesting analysis there from the Turkish analyst researcher based in London, Ziya Meral.